Hello, my name is Edward Chu. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. There's two things that I want to talk about today: uncertainty and the power of perspective. Uncertainty is just swirling through our society, and I imagine that so many of you are sitting in your version of it. So I'd like to talk a little bit about my experience with uncertainty and how that experience is taking me on a brand new journey, and how perspective and the way I play with it is changing the game for me. Uncertainty. So when I first learned I was losing half my business, I broke. I do not handle uncertainty well. Whenever I face uncertainty, and face is a strong word, but whenever it comes into my world, I will ruminate and future pace all of the worst case scenarios that could play out. Now, preparing for future scenarios based on situations that can occur so that you are ready to respond to them, that's necessary. I am not saying that's not a good thing. What I'm talking about is I would future pace it forward and forward and forward, and where I would always end up is out on the street and homeless, telling myself that's where I'd land if my business closed. That's not healthy, and that paralyzed me. That kept me stuck and had me falling into bad patterns that I had really done a good job of releasing from my life. Fortunately, I had a really good friend ask me a super question. What if this season of uncertainty is happening for you? And when they asked me that question, I didn't push it away. I said, what if this is happening for me? And as I asked myself that question with an open heart and curiosity, I began to see possibility. The fear that was keeping me stuck in bad habits and bad patterns was starting to ease up. And as I thought about it, I saw that right here in this moment, what I'm walking through is growing me. Right now in this moment, I am learning to dance with uncertainty in a new way. This is happening for me. And as that happens, fear begins to reduce. And as the fear reduces, that possibility is growing. And why is this such a big deal for me? Before this season, I can't recall a time when I've walked through uncertainty and also experienced tremendous possibility and excitement for what could come. This is brand new for me. And this is something that I'm going to explore, share, and be. I started this channel for two reasons. One is to talk about my journey of how I walk through uncertainty over the next, year, 2 years, whatever it takes until I come out the other side. And specifically, what it looks like for me to walk through uncertainty while I'm holding on to possibility. And what I believe right now is in the future, there are going to be new opportunities, new scenarios, new relationships, new partnerships that are going to come up that are going to help me to build a new business if my current business goes under, or for me to rewire or restructure my current business so that I can hand it off so that I can do what is the calling of my heart and purpose. And I believe that's what's happening. Perspective. The shift from me imagining I'm out on the street to I'm headed towards a future that is more exciting and fulfilling than I was living before I had my business cuts. Nothing outside changed. The outside circumstances didn't change at all. What changed was the story that I told myself about what's happening. And that is the power of perspective. I will. I also want you to know that I have spent the past 12 years of my life deliberately working on myself, like very deliberate self growth, constantly and consistently. Well, I'm not going to say constantly, definitely not constantly, but consistently over time, working to identify areas where I want to improve and how I can grow more and more into the person I'm capable of becoming. And it's been very deliberate. And I have learned a lot. And what I'm going to be doing is utilizing the tools and techniques that I've learned, using them for myself as I walk through this journey, but I'm going to show them and demonstrate them to you and how I'm using them for myself. And what I'd like to close in this video is one example. And that example is, I call it the power of the pause. And I don't know if somebody else said that, so I want to acknowledge it. That verbiage may not be mine, but the power of the pause. And this is something that I found myself doing more and more frequently over the past couple of months. And it's a game changer. Power of the pause is simply noticing when you are falling into a reactive pattern, pausing yourself, ideally in the first 10 to 30 seconds. Because if you can pause yourself in the first 10 to 30 seconds before that reactive energy escalates and takes over, you have the power to make a new decision. So, you notice the patterns coming on. You pause. I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Number 1, take 5 to 10 deep breaths. Not shallow breaths. Not these. Big, deep breaths. If you're a chest breather, breathe as deep as you can. If you do belly breathe, diaphragmatic breathe, do that, like this. If you do 5 to 10 of those, you're gonna calm your nervous system at least to a place where it's not escalating. And if you're with somebody else, yeah, it may feel weird. So what? They can wait. They will be fine. Take your breaths. And then once you've taken your breaths, step 2. Ask yourself, not out loud, to yourself internally, what's the impulse? What am I about to do? For me, my go-to was, I'm going to armor up and I'm going to go on the defensive and attack at the same time. I'm going to defend myself and I'm going to prove to that person why I'm right and they're wrong. That was just one example of my general go-to. And so often in my life, when I would fall into that reactive pattern, I would say or do something I regretted, something that I couldn't undo. So, pause, breathe. What's the impact? What action am I about to take? Step 3. What's the cost? If I take this action, what's the cost? And play that out. Forward pace it. Take a moment and think about that. And then once you've done it, you may choose to not engage. You may choose to ask the person to reconnect later on. Say, you know what, I'm really not in a good place to talk. You may decide that you are still going to move forward with that action. Great. Because now you have done it consciously. You are not reacting like you were going to. You are now responding. You have paused. You have calmed your nervous system. You have identified the action you're going to take, and you have deliberately decided you still want to take it. So more than likely, there's a valid reason why you're moving forward on it. This is how we learn to respond to life and those we engage with versus react to it. And let me tell you, when you learn to do this on a regular basis, it is a game changer for every single person you're engaging with. If you're a business owner or working with somebody, or you have a relationship, brother, sister, husband, wife, fiance, it does not matter. You can use this technique with anybody. And I promise you, it is life-changing. Not only will you find better results, have better relationships, but you will feel significantly better. Thank you if you came upon this video and watched it. My name is Edward Chu, and I hope that you will join me for future videos. I hope you have an amazing day.